Right now at 5, caught in the crossfire.
I looked back and the window had shattered.
She ducked for cover in Tuesday's shootout between police and a convicted felon.
Florence bearing down on North Carolina. I've got the latest track.
And I'm monitoring the flooding and storm surge threat along the Carolina coasts.
Plus, Bellevue's police union pushes back against the chief coming back on the force. And the allergy assault, the one thing to do right now to stop the sneezing.
Live from 7 Burlington Station, this is Omaha's news leader. KETV NewsWatch 7 at 5.
Good evening, I'm Alexandra Stone.
And I'm David Earl. Right now, we're still waiting to hear from police about what led to Tuesday's traffic stop that ended with an officer and a suspect shot. Officer Ken Fortune managed to handcuff the alleged driver of the car, 28-year-old Brandon Ritchie, even after getting shot. Ritchie faces a misdemeanor fleeing charge. The judge set his bond at $250,000 despite a request from the state to set bond at $500,000. Police body camera pictures show the passenger in the car, 36-year-old Johnny Zell Jr., point a gun at officers seconds before he fired. The bullet went into Fortune's radio, then his shoulder. Tonight, Officer Fortune is out of the hospital.
As the bullets started flying, a driver nearby got caught in the crossfire. She showed us the bullet holes in her car today and described the trauma.
KETV NewsWatch 7's Michelle Bandur's live with her story tonight. Michelle.
Alexandra and David, Michelle Eds was heading southbound on 30th Street on her way to work at Malara's restaurant when she found herself in the middle of the shootout with Omaha gang unit officers and a convicted felon.
I got out and I was kind of like I was hyperventilating and I was trying to flag down the cops.
A pivotal moment for Michelle Eds.
Yep, this window was shattered.
When she realized she drove right into a gunfight between police and a suspect at 30th and Laurel Tuesday.
And I got through the intersection and I heard about 3 or 4 shots. And I looked back and the window had shattered and I slammed on my brakes to make sure I was okay and not bleeding.
The 48-year-old waitress immediately thought of her son and husband.
I just thank God, there was a guardian angel watching me.
Police say a bullet from the suspect's gun busted out her back window, went through the back headrest, and lodged into the door frame. They say it came from the same gun seen in this picture captured from an officer's body cam.
I couldn't believe that they actually are going to pull out a gun on an officer and shoot at him point blank.
Eds is still trying to comprehend that she could have been the innocent victim in this confrontation that sent an officer and the suspect to the hospital.
I haven't slept in 2 days. Like every loud noise scares me now. It's scary to know that, you can't drive down the street without somebody shooting at somebody, especially in broad daylight.
However, she won't let this moment of violence define her. Instead, Ed says it's a moment that changed her.
I just, every day I get up in the morning now and just thank the Lord that I'm here.
Well, Eds tells me she understands that police have a job to do to get criminals off the street no matter what time of day, and especially if it's blocks from her home. Reporting live, Michelle Band, KETV NewsWatch 7.
Many of you have been placed under evacuation, and we are asking citizens to please heed a warning. Your time is running out.
Breaking at this hour, Hurricane Florence is beginning its assault on the Carolinas.
This is the live look at Cape Fear in North Carolina. Look at the damage to the American flag blowing in the wind there. You see the waves. This is near Wilmington. The National Hurricane Center did drop the storm's intensity, but meteorologists warn that only applies to how fast the winds blow.
The storm surge and epic rainfall amounts are still life-threatening factors of this hurricane. Weather Now team coverage begins at 5 with Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby and the latest storm track.
Yeah, guys, it seems like we've been tracking this for a week now, but it's now approaching the coast of North Carolina here. And while it has, as you mentioned, weakened slightly, it's still a Category 2 hurricane and projected to move very slowly inland here. In fact, these are the estimations of when it'll be located. 2 a.m., 100-mile-per-hour wind still just off the coast. 2 p.m. Friday inland, but still 85-mile-per-hour winds. And then 2 p.m. Saturday, the storm is weakened, but still has only moved about 150 miles. So the very slow movement brings the flooding concern to an even higher awareness. And more on the flooding concern and storm surge potential, we've got meteorologist Molly Bernard.
Thanks, Bill. Some areas just off towards the east of Jacksonville already seeing over 3 to 6 inches in the last 24 hours. There are flash flood warnings in effect right now, and we're continuing to see that storm surge as an issue. So as we head into the next few days, we're looking at the potential to actually see upwards of 40 inches of rain over parts of the coast. So you can see near Jacksonville, close to 37 inches this model, ending this right at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Other areas seeing 20 so feet of rain. That's just rainfall. On top of that, storm surge, a very big issue. What that is it's the displacement of seawater towards the coast thanks to the strong winds. Florence itself actually looking at 7 to 11 feet above ground of that seawater as we head through the day on Sunday. That continuing to be a concern through early Sunday morning. David, Alexandra.
All right, Molly, scary stuff. Thank you. 44 members of Nebraska Task Force 1 are in North Carolina as the storm moves in. The team met with emergency management leaders today to get a feel for the area.
We are just here to supplement them, to assist them. I made that perfectly clear this morning that we're not here to take over. We're here to be a tool in their toolbox and help them out.
And 2 Nebraska National Guard Black Hawk helicopters and 14 crew members are on their way to North Carolina right now. First, they'll stop in Tennessee, where they'll stage until they're assigned a mission in North Carolina. Red Cross volunteers are also on the East Coast right now asking for your support. If you'd like to help, you can donate $10 by texting the word Florence to 90999. You can also donate online at redcross.org. Our coverage continues in this newscast with a report from our crew in North Carolina right now. ABC World News Tonight is also standing by with updates starting at 5:30.
Case dismissed. Prosecutors dropped charges against a Bellevue woman once accused of abusing her 11-month-old boy. April Renshaw went to jail in February accused of throwing her child against a wall. The key witness in the case, a 55-year-old woman who took her own life a month later. Since the woman cannot testify, the case cannot go forward. After Renshaw's arrest, police reports indicated her baby had bruises on his head and face and small burns on his body.
Now to the breaking news from Bellevue. The city's police union makes its case again, protesting reinstatement of the chief. Mark
Albert heads back to active duty 1 year after a no confidence vote by the union. He got 1 year of paid leave. The union says Albert pressured an employee to hide information from other city officials.
KETV NewsWatch 7's Camilla Ortiz is live in Bellevue tonight.
Alexandra, David, I'm standing outside of the attorney's office where we just heard from the Bellevue Police Union's legal counsel. He went over in detail why, again, they believe Chief Mark Albert should not be chief. The attorney played conversations between Chief Albert and the police employee who brought forward the allegations of deception. Those conversations, which took place in 2016, were secretly recorded. They're about the employee's request for job accommodations due to a medical condition. Accommodations like 8-hour shifts and inability to answer the phone at night. In the recording, Chief Albert suggests the employee not make a formal request and instead make a secret arrangement with him, but not tell anyone else in the department or city.
You aren't seeing these things in Lincoln or Papillion or La Vista or Sarpy or North Platte or Grand Island from their chiefs of police. You have to ask yourself, why is that? So too, you do not see anything like what we have seen over this past 2 years in the leadership of any current city administration that I'm aware of.
The Bellevue city administrator and attorney maintained in a press release they sent Tuesday that there's no merit to the complaints and Chief Albert's actions were within his scope of authority. I'll have much more on this coming up tonight at 10. Reporting live in Bellevue, Camilla Ortiz, KETV Newswatch 7.
All right, Camilla, thank you. Staff at Skinner Elementary found a student with a BB gun this morning. In a letter to parents, the school's principal says a student told administrators about it. They will punish the student who brought the gun. We have breaking news. Check out these incredible live pictures coming in from the Boston area now. A series of gas explosions ignited more than 20 homes in the city of Lawrence. The police chief there says there are so many fires, you can't even see the sky. Look at all that smoke. Evacuations are in place in the town. Area firefighters and police are responding to the scenes right now. They've reported pressure issues with gas lines in that area.
Back in the metro tomorrow, we expect Anthony Garcia to learn if he'll die or get life in prison. A 3-judge panel will decide his fate and announce it tomorrow. They've been weighing whether or not Garcia was mentally ill when he killed 4 people in Omaha between 2008 and 2013. And take a look. We just got these pictures today from the Nebraska State Patrol. A U.S. Army reservist vehicle blew a tire and rolled there. This happened on I-80 in Cass County. Investigators tell us, thankfully, nobody got hurt.
Citing layoffs and years without a raise, Omaha World Herald journalists say they want a union. Today, they took a major step to unionize. They sent cards to the News Guild, CWA. In the coming days, World Herald staff members will vote on the issue unless the paper's owner, Berkshire Hathaway Media Group, voluntarily recognizes that union. Well, next here at 5, they are techniques used by Omaha investigators to stop human trafficking. Now, they're becoming a model for other agencies around the world.
Plus, the latest from the storm zone. Hurricane Florence's winds and rain are already hitting the Carolinas, and we have a crew there standing by with an update. Live outside now in Omaha, rush hour traffic. Bill's back after the break with his full forecast and the hot temps continuing this week. Welcome back tonight. We have crews from our sister stations on the East Coast fanned out across the storm zone right now, updating conditions.
We want to get right over to meteorologist AJ Burnett. He's live for us tonight in Wilmington, North Carolina on Hurricane Florence.
And I'll tell you what, the conditions continue worsening here in eastern North Carolina. We've got heavy rainfall and gusty winds, which have been coming inland for the past several hours. It started out just rather kind of cloudy today, but as the system has slowly moved toward the coastline, and it's still got more room to go, by the way, we've seen those conditions slowly deteriorate. Now, behind me, I want to show you across that water, that is Wrightsville Beach. Wrightsville Beach was evacuated, mandatory evacuations as of 8 o'clock last night. We see a police cruiser actually heading over the causeway to go patrol over there. I want to tell you more about that in just a second, but in the meantime, it's not just the wind that we're concerned about here. You can see earlier today we had some showers start up, and those showers have been getting a little bit more numerous, of course. It's more the wave action from the ocean and the heavy rain that's going to cause all the major problems, such that officials have said if you're one of the few people that's still out on Wrightsville Beach or any of the barrier islands and beaches in North Carolina, pretty soon you're going to be on your own.
There's going to be nobody to come. I mean, we're not going to come when Ocean Rescue isn't going to come, when it's unsafe for us to be there. We're not going to put our guys in harm's way because somebody else, failed to follow an evacuation order. So we'll obviously do everything that's in our power to help them, but we're if you're stuck, you're stuck.
Last time the beach was evacuated was back in 1995 when Fran came aboard, 1996, pardon me, when Fran came in and caused all sorts of damage up and down the Wrightsville Beach area. But even further back than that, 1954, that's the major hurricane that people may recall around these parts. That's the one that all others are measured by, it seems, around here. That was Hazel. That all but destroyed the entire barrier beach. And we'll see what all pans out with this storm over the next several hours. Again, it's the heavy rain and the storm surge that we're mostly concerned about that should disrupt all sorts of utilities across the area. Some major problems here. Guys, back to you.
All right, AJ Burnett from our sister station on the East Coast tonight. AJ, thank you.
And there's another major storm bearing down in the Pacific tonight. The Philippines is preparing to get slammed by a powerful typhoon on Saturday. Take a look at this video showing the storm hitting Guam. It has winds in excess of 100 miles per hour. Evacuation orders are in place across the Pacific.
Today, the President of the United States made a false claim about Hurricane Maria. The Puerto Rican government says nearly 3,000 people died in last year's storm and its aftermath. In a July report, FEMA recognized several shortcomings in federal response efforts. But in a series of tweets, the president disputes the death toll and blames Democrats for inflating the numbers.
From Omaha's weather leader.
I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
That's right.
More news at 5. Iowa farmland average values are falling. A new survey says they've dropped nearly 2% in the past 6 months. The report from the Iowa chapter of the Realtors Land Institute puts the blame in part on those tariffs that affected crop prices and on rising interest rates.
Right now, Omaha human trafficking experts are sharing their investigative tactics with other agencies across the world. Today, Metro law enforcement agencies met with crews from Malaysia, Thailand, and Cambodia. Glenn Parks with the Nebraska Attorney General's office stressed the importance of partnership to end human trafficking.
It's absolutely essential to the fight against human trafficking that we work across those lines, law enforcement and service providers, government and NGO. Within our jurisdiction and without.
The investigative techniques shared during the training are known as the Omaha model. There's more news to come at 5. Fall allergy sufferers, especially kids, know how bad this season is. 7 Canal has advice to keep them sneeze-free at school. Then new at 6, KETV investigates recent reports of bats and rabies. What you need to know if the winged creatures make their way into your home.
Live from the Burlington, this is KETV NewsWatch 7 at 5. On the live desk at 5, OPPD, the Omaha Public Power District, says it may change how it decommissions the Fort Calhoun nuclear plant. The switch would change from safe storage to decontamination. The decon option would reduce OPPD's financial liability and regulatory risk. It could also save the utility around $200 million. Gage County, Nebraska property owners will pay for mistakes made with the so-called Beatrice 6. The Gage County, Nebraska Board approves a 50-cent increase in the property tax levy. That's the maximum allowed. The extra money will help finance the $28 million judgment against Gage County for the wrongful convictions of 6 people in a 1985 murder.
Well, this week also marks 10 years since the U.S. economy spiraled into chaos. The housing bubble burst, Lehman Brothers collapsed, and the U.S. economy plunged into a major recession.
If Lehman Brothers was to happen today, it wouldn't happen. They would have 2.5 times more equity, 2.5 times more debt, 2.5 times more liquidity. The regulators have the legal authority to take it over, and they have the ability to wind it down in an orderly way. It wouldn't happen, this huge disorderly mess that the collapse of Lehman created.
Today on Wall Street, the markets rallied. All 3 major indexes posted healthy gains.
Well, right now, millions of people are sneezing, they're rubbing their eyes, and they're dealing with those seasonal allergies.
Not fun, and this time of year is really tough for kids who cope too. There's the ragweed and mold outside, then there's dust and pets inside the classroom. So here's what to do. Have your kids take a shower before bed to wash away any allergens. A sinus rinse can help out too.
It's like giving it a bath so that all these pollens and all of these cat and rodent allergens aren't there, so that it washes it all off in a natural way.
Some more tips: keep the windows closed and the AC on at home. That keeps the pollen outdoors and away from anyone who's allergic. Another live look outside right now from our SkyCam network. Bill's updated 7-day forecast when KETV NewsWatch 7 at 5 continues.
All I see is all the pollen out there, all the allergies.
Quiet weather conditions around here. Some clouds this morning. Our clicker is working again now.
That's good.
Maps are
We're
good.
relieved.
Garage doors were opening all around the city though when I was pushing that button, which is weird. Anyway, 90 tomorrow, 91 Saturday.
That's the way it worked. That'd be great. Thanks, Bill.
That's our report at 5. Thank you for joining us.
We're back here in 30 minutes with more local news. Up next, World News Tonight.